Hey, how's it going, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. We're going to be going over Kehlani Antisummerluv by special request from Jason. And we're going to just play it really quick, and then after that we'll get into the chords, what the names are that we're using, and then after that we'll even go into more detailed breakdown for those who need to know the shapes of the chords and where they're at on the fretboard. Okay, so let's get through the song really quick. So that's pretty much it. So for those of you who know your theory and the names and the shapes of your chords, we're going to shout those chords out really quick so you guys have that information and you can go on and learning the song and playing it however you desire. Here we go. So the first one is A major 7. Then your very next chord is going to be G minor 7. Then you're going to have C minor 7. And then you're going to have F7 sus. And then when they do that walk down, it's going to be D sharp major 7. That's the chord we're looking for. Let me do that again. D sharp major 7. Then we're going to do D minor 7. Then we're going to do C minor 7. Then we're going to do F7 sus 4. Then we're going to throw in a little diminished chord, C diminished. And then we're going to obviously end with our A sharp major 7. And as you guys could tell, I'm not using a pick, I'm using fingerstyle guitar. It's very important to get that sound. It just adds a much richer, cleaner sound. You get a lot more poppiness. I know a lot of great guitarists like Matteo Sotto, John Mayer, and countless others that just aren't coming to mind right now. They use a fingerstyle. They use picks as well, but for certain sounds, for certain songs, you want to accentuate certain notes and certain harmonics, and playing naturally with your fingers just really brings those tones out. So I encourage you to start practicing that way. So that's pretty much all you need to know when it comes with the chords. Now in the next couple slides here, we're going to be going into the chord breakdown and where to find those chords and how to play them on the fretboard. Alright, so let's take a closer look at those chords. Just a quick reminder, I'm using my fingers. If you want to get that sound, it's not necessary to do so, but it really helps. I'll go over my hand positions really quick again. Pinky on the high E, my ring finger is on the B string, my middle finger is on the G string, my index is going to be on the D, and then my thumb is playing the A and the E string, okay? It's really important to practice using that hand position to get that rich sound. So let's go over the chord. A major 7. Sorry, A sharp major 7. That's what we want. So we're going to start with our index finger on the 6th fret of the E string. I'm not going to be playing A. I'm going to be kind of muting that with my index finger. Should sound like that. And then I'm going to be putting down my ring finger on the 5th fret, on the 7th fret of D. That note should sound like this. Then I'll be putting my pinky on the 7th fret of G, right next to my ring finger. That note should sound like this. Then I'll be putting my middle finger on the B string on the 6th fret. That note should sound like this. So all those notes together, remember we're not playing A. And if you are practicing that hand position that we went over, you're essentially going to be using your thumb, your index finger, your middle finger, and your ring finger. 1, 2, 3, 4. Should roll off like that. 2, 3, 4. Okay. So that's our A major 7. Now we're going to go into our G minor 7. Helps the hammer on to get that. It just gives it a nice tone when you hammer on that note. So we're going to start by barring with our index finger on the 10th fret. And for this chord, we're not going to use the E. We're going to ignore that string. So with our index finger, using a bar on the 10th fret, we're going to start from the A string down and just bar all those 5 strings. Then we're going to get our ring finger and we're going to put that on the 12th fret of the D string. And then we're going to get our middle finger and put that on the 11th fret of the B string. It should sound like this. Alright. And then for our C minor 7, we're going to jump over here to the 8th fret. And we're going to start with our index finger on the low E. That's going to be the first note you're looking for. And then you could play this a couple different ways, but I'll show you how I do it. I bar, so if this is too hard, if this is too much for your finger right now to do that, or if that's your finger strength isn't there yet, you could use essentially the rest of your fingers to do this. So you're just essentially just barring across. So the only notes we're not going to be playing are going to be your A and your high E. You don't really want to focus on those strings. You want to mostly focus on the low E and then these other 3 strings right here. And you're going to be, it's pretty much just barring across the 8th fret. So you have your index finger here, and then I bar this finger, I press down on these 3 notes with this finger, with the ring finger. I'm pressing down on the D, on the B, on the G, and the B. So that's what it should sound like. And if that's too weird of a hand position, you could put your pinky and then your ring finger and then your middle finger on those notes. And then your index finger or your thumb there. Whatever, find what shape. And the shapes I'm showing you, they're slightly changeable. You could, we all have different hand shapes. So if you find something that's a little more comfortable, as long as you're using those notes, it should work. So we were on C minor 7. And we're going to go to an F7 sus, which is the exact same hand position. You don't have to change anything. All you're doing is skipping strings, okay? So instead of starting here on the high, on the low E, we're going to now jump to the A and do the same thing. Exactly what we did on this side. So remember how we weren't playing the A or the high E on this particular chord? It was just... We're going to do the same thing, except now we're going to be playing the A. And the only one we're going to be skipping is this D string. You don't need to play that one. So you get your middle finger, you press down right here on the 7th fret, the 8th fret of D. So you can use your middle finger on the 8th fret of D, which would sound like that. And then I just bar with my ring finger on the G string, the B string, and the E string on the 8th fret as well. Those should sound like this. So now we're going to speed it up and see what that sounds like in the rhythm that they're doing. Oh, and then for the rhythm part, they're just going with your hand. So I'm hoping most of you know how to slap with your, on the guitar. It's pretty simple, but it is a skill that you need to develop a little bit. If you could naturally already do it, hey, even better on you. So you just play the chord and you're keeping the rhythm. So for all you drummers out there or people who've played drums before in the past, this should be a little bit more easier for you. You're essentially just keeping the beat. You're hitting that the snare. So whenever the snare hits, you're slapping down. Essentially, that's the secret in this. So that's what we have so far, and that's pretty much what they do during the chorus. I mean, sorry, during the verses. That's what they're all playing. Okay, and then when they do that walk down, where it goes so we'll get into that. So the walk down is going to be a D sharp major 7. So you're going to bar with your index finger on the 6th fret. Then you're going to put your ring finger on the 8th fret of D. Then you're going to put your middle finger above that, right on the 7th fret of G. And then you're going to put your pinky right on the 8th fret of the B string. So far it should sound like this. Now remember, you're barring down with your index and you want to press down hard and then do those, make this shape. Now with this one you could play all the strings. You don't have to skip any. You can strum down if you want. So they kind of hammer on, so they go. So you want to hammer on with your pinky. So while you're playing that chord, if you can hammer on with that, that's what they do. And then they do the same thing, another hammer on into your into your D minor 7. And you make that shape. It's the same shape that we used to make for the second chord for the G minor 7. Remember up here? It's going to be the same shape. You're just doing it down here now, which now makes it a D minor 7, okay? But we'll go over how to play it again. So you bar, you're going to be barring. You're not playing the E, this low E, you're not worried about that. So you're just barring from the A down. So we're doing starting from the 5th fret of A. Now we'll be putting our ring finger on the 7th fret of the D string. And then we're going to be putting our middle finger on the 6th fret of the B string. And it should sound like this. And same thing, you can play all the strings on this one. And I would recommend hammering on when you hit this note. And then the same shape, you're just going to jump down now over here to the 3rd fret on the same shape. Same hand position, everything. You don't change anything. All you're doing is changing your position. So. Oh, and then to get that note, that sound, okay, so just hammer on, roll with your fingers, and then you're hitting the high E with your pinky. Then you do the same thing there, and then we're going to be doing an F7 sus, okay? So, just to overview really quick while we're doing that walk down, here's our D sharp major 7, okay, then we do the D minor 7, then we do our C minor 7, remember, same shape as the one before, and then this one it does change. We're going to bar all this time across all strings, and then we're going to use our middle finger, our ring finger, and we're going to put it on the 3rd fret of A. Alright, so middle finger, ring finger on the 3rd fret of A, and then our pinky is going to be on the 3rd fret of the G string. And we're still barring across with this one, so it should sound like this. And you don't have to hit that high E, but if you want to, it's fine. But you should mostly focusing on those chords, on those notes. And that's going to be your F7 sus. Okay. And then after that, you jump into your C diminished. Sorry, it's right here. It's going to be on the 7th fret of the D string is your first note you're going to be hitting. Sounds like that. Then the very next one's going to be on the 8th fret of the G string. Whoops. So that's the note you're looking for. So let's go over the notes we were looking for so far. The first one is this. Alright. 7th fret of the D string. Second note we're looking for is that one right there. That's going to be the 8th fret of the G string. Then that's going to be on the 7th fret of the B string. And that's going to be on the 8th fret of the E string. So altogether those should sound like this. And then we're going to end with the very first chord we started the whole song off with, which was A sharp major 7. Alright, thanks so much for tuning in, you guys. Good job on learning the song. I really appreciate the request. That was a request from someone on Instagram. His name is Jason. Jason, shout out to you. I really appreciate you reaching out and asking how to play the song. Hopefully it was helpful. And if you have any other questions, Jason, you could personally reach out to me on Instagram and I'll try to answer those. But for everyone else, man, keep those requests coming. I will try to learn. I mean, don't be sending me like trying to learn a crazy Ingwe Malmsteen solo or anything. I'm not there yet. But send me things that songs that you guys hear on the radio, songs that you guys think is something that I could figure out. I'd be happy to share the chords, share how I go about breaking it down. And so yeah, we could all learn together because there's so many chords out there. There's so many different shapes, and I'm still learning myself. There's a lot that I need to learn, and I really want to get my guitar theory down. I want to learn it a lot better. And so what I learn, I'd be happy to share with you guys. So, alright, you guys take care, and we'll see you in the next one.